Hi, I'm McKenzie. I'm into roller coasters, Zumba, K-pop, and dating. I have Down syndrome, so I learn a bit differently, and sometimes it's hard for me to pronounce words. I don't talk a lot. People sometimes think I can't, or that I don't understand them. Most likely, I'm just worried they won't understand me when I talk.
Do people ever misunderstand you, like people do with McKenzie?
A few years ago, I worked with Pat. We went everywhere together, Mondays and Thursdays. Pat was cool and super nice to me, and listened when I talked. We even went to the P&E. My folks said I wasn't allowed to go on the big roller coaster, but Pat said we could go as long as we didn't tell anyone about it. At first, the ride was great, but then Pat's hand was inside my pants, touching me down between my legs. I felt so many things at the same time: ashamed, excited, wrong, curious. On the way home, Pat said not to tell my folks about the roller coaster, or we'd both be in trouble for riding it when they said no.
Has anyone ever asked you to keep a secret?
Pat touched me between my legs more times after that. I even started saying okay. I still felt confused about it, and I was afraid because it all started on the roller coaster, when I wasn't allowed. Also, Pat was one of the only people who was ever nice to me, and I didn't want us to stop hanging out.
Have you ever felt confused about your feelings?
The other thing was, to talk about it, I'd have to use words I hadn't pronounced before. Words my big sister Indira got in trouble for using when my parents heard her.
Have you ever been in trouble for using certain words?
For a while, I just stopped talking to anyone. One day, Indira asked me what was wrong. I told her about Pat. It was hard, but she didn't interrupt. She told me she believed me, and it wasn't my fault, even if I'd said okay. She helped me find other people who could support me with all of my feelings and questions. We chose a support group and a counselor. They were nice, and Indira came along to help them understand what I was saying. One day in the bath, I figured out that I liked touching myself between my legs. But then I felt ashamed, like when Pat did it. I told my support group, and they said it was called masturbation. It's normal and it's healthy. It can't hurt me, and I get to decide how I touch myself.
Do you get to feel sexual pleasure in your life?
It took me a long time to feel safe to try dating. Nowadays, I go to Let's Get Real. It's a dating group in Vancouver for people with cognitive disabilities. We meet and mingle and flirt, but we also do workshops on things like consent. I've dated a few people I've met there. I'm taking things slowly, and if the other person can't accept that, I leave.
Where do you meet people?
Indira got me a book called The Survivor's Guide to Sex. I'm glad, because one day I hope I'll find someone special for a longer relationship, and for the kind of touching that I'm a big yes to.
What are you hoping for? McKenzie was voiced by Sharon Lillian. The narrator was voiced by John Woods. Original music by John Woods. For a paper version of this comic, links to all the resources McKenzie uses, and more videos of open conversations on dating, love, relationships, and sex, visit real-talk.org.